Dr. Dre helped to write the soundtracks of our lives. His beats gave rhythm to resistance. But his billions went to USC, a white institution that built its prestige while keeping Black students at the margins. Not a single dollar went to a historically Black college or university, not one dime to the Black press. His music screamed revolution, his money whispered obedience. What happened to the song F the Police? You'll hear them singing that no more. You know why, right? Because he has property. And police's job is to protect property. Right. It's not about protecting people, especially working class people like you and me. No. In fact, police actually don't have a constitutional duty to protect us. You can actually check that out. You can Google that yourself. That was actually ruled by the Supreme Court. So if they don't have a constitutional duty to protect us, and then you have people like Dr. Dre that don't really give a damn about his community. Hell, why would he give a damn about his community when he's actually allegedly a woman beater? Black people, family, come on. We gotta have a come to Jesus moment. We gotta talk. We gotta talk about some of the people who are among us that chose to exploit us, and therefore they left us in the dust and went to go live either in Calabasas or in the Hamptons with white people so that they did not have to be around us anymore because they actually don't really like us like that. We got to talk about it. We also got to talk about how a lot of these people want proximity to whiteness because they want to stay comfortable. And they actually really don't want to do anything for the rest of us because they're so comfortable in the system. And then they think that, well, I did it so that everybody else can do it too. Either that or they're just selfish as hell. And they're like, you know what? I got mine. You got to go get yours. And that's not on me. Because there is no community responsibility, only personal responsibility. They divorced themselves from the Black community. Let's call a thing a thing. Let's stop with this. Oh my goodness, they're so special. They're so great. That's Black excellence. No, it's not. It's not. Right? And this is one of the things that I think that we really need to get to. Black capitalism will not save us. It has not saved us. It never will save us any more than capitalism has actually saved white people. Ask all the poor white people, has capitalism actually saved them? If it ain't saved them, then what else makes us think it's going to save us? The hell? So this is why I think it's important for us to really have this moment, right? I want to get into this article because I think it's important that I want to react to this article because I think this is important for us to really start to learn and figure out how we move as a people, right? So that's exactly not what I want to go to. I'll be going to that in a second. Let me see here. Here we go. Now, this is from the Milwaukee Community Journal. It says, white comfort, Black betrayal when our billionaires forget us. All right. Let's take a look at this. It says, betrayal is not subtle. It is loud in its quiet, glaring in its silence, and brutal in its indifference. The Black press, born in chains in 1827 before slavery ended, built in blood and sustained by courage, is gasping for air while those who could have saved it look the other way. Those are not outsiders. They are our own. The rich and powerful among us who have traded solidarity for status, truth for comfort, and liberation for proximity to whiteness. The Black press is the backbone of our collective memory. It told our stories when no one else would, when white America painted our faces as criminals and our dreams as crimes. It printed Mamie Till's anguish so that the world could see her son's mutilated body. It carried the words of Frederick Douglass and the defiance of Ida B. Wells. It stood with Martin Luther King Jr. reporting his sermons and his jailhouse letters when white editors called him a menace. Says that same black press now struggles to survive while the billionaires it helped lift into the light sit in luxury, feeding the illusion that their comfort beside white's power is safety. Now let's get into this. Magic Johnson lounges on a $138 million yacht surrounded by a world of white wealth. The same Magic Johnson who once symbolized black excellence has turned his back on the institution that chronicled his rise. Meanwhile, Mark Cuban, a white billionaire with no stake in the struggle, did what Magic would not. He gave 6 figures to support the black press. Black billionaires, meanwhile, haven't given 6 cents. This is what proximity to whiteness does. It kills the memory of where you came from. Let's stop here for a second. I'm going to be pointing out something that I think this article misses out on. Here's one thing I don't think that I think the complaints about black billionaires having solidarity with the black community and black workers at large, I think it's a fantasy to think that they actually would have solidarity with us, because if they're willing to exploit their way to get it to $1 billion, including exploiting their own people, what makes you think that they're actually going to be willing to have solidarity with us once they get to that point? If they didn't start out that way, what makes you think they're going to end that way? And they can do these little things here and there and say, well, we're giving money to this charity and that charity, but then they turn around and they claim it on their taxes and they get that money right back. They actually didn't take from themselves. It was really a tax write-off. So they used us in that way, while also garnering, a publicity of currency, a currency that they can have when it comes to the court of public opinion. That whenever somebody like me critiques them, well, you can't talk about them because they did this and they did that and they did this thing for the black community. Meanwhile, the things they actually did for the black community are for specific foundations that are really tied to them, so that they can be able to say to the government, hey, I gave these people this money, so I want to get this money back from my taxes. And so therefore, it really was never any skin off my back, because even though that money went away, it came right back into my pockets. It's never really actually about giving back to the community. It's about taking from the community and then increasing their social capital so that you won't critique them any further. It's the same thing that people do with people like Jay-Z, with Rihanna, or Beyonce, with Tyler Perry. Same thing. They'll continue to do this and go, well, they look at how much they've done. They produce great work. And I'm like, baby, you can't make $1 billion that fast doing that kind of work. It's other things on top of it that got them to that status. And that status brought them to billionaire status because of exploitation. Just ask Rihanna. You think Fenty Beauty got to there just through not exploiting people? Go ask some of the people in India about Fenty Beauty. Go ahead and ask them. There were people who were going after Beyonce because some of her products were being allegedly being made in sweatshops. Right? They got to talk about it, baby. What happened to those schools that Oprah was supposed to be building in Africa for girls? My critique is of Black people who do not really have solidarity with their own people. And then you embrace a system that has actually enslaved our ancestors, and you continue to embrace that system and don't offer any type of either reprieve from the stain and scourge of this system, or try to help people who try to fundamentally change the system. It's not like some of the people in the past who, for instance, donated and worked with the Black Panther Party. Like that's different, right? Now you have these ones and they want to stay within the system because they don't want an FBI file. They don't want an FBI file the same way Aretha Franklin had one. Yeah, Aretha, she had an FBI file. So this is why the critique is so heavy. Let's continue. Dr. Dre helped to write the soundtracks of our lives. His beats gave rhythm to resistance, but his billions went to USC, a white institution that built its prestige while keeping Black students at the margins. Not a single dollar went to a historically Black college or university, not one dime to the Black press. His music screamed revolution, his money whispered obedience. What happened to the song F the Police? You'll hear them singing that no more. You know why, right? Because he has property. And police's job is to protect property. Right. It's not about protecting people, especially working class people like you and me. No. In fact, police actually don't have a constitutional duty to protect us. You can actually check that out. You can Google that yourself. That was actually ruled by the Supreme Court. So if they don't have a constitutional duty to protect us, and then you have people like Dr. Dre that don't really give a damn about his community. Hell, why would he give a damn about his community when he's actually allegedly a woman beater? And he beat Black women. So of course he's not going to care about his community. He doesn't even care about the Black women in his community, allegedly. So how can I expect more from him? I don't. And neither should you. Right? And this isn't saying that you still can't enjoy his music on, the Chronic. Right? But I'm going to tell you something right now. It's a lie when he keeps saying, I still got love for the streets. No, you don't. No, you don't. Busy giving money to USC instead of HBCUs. And even then, you don't even have to give money to HBCUs. I mean, just why aren't we uplifting Black people in a more substantive way, especially when it comes to changing the system? Doing mutual aid with our dollars instead of doing charity. My, what would Fred Hampton say about him? Let's continue on. Hell, what would Pac say about him? That's a great question. So, and yet we acknowledge the truth. They have every right to do what they want with their money. No one questions that. But when the world is burning and our people are being pushed back into the fields, we wish they remember from whence they came. Mackenzie Scott, a white woman, has given more to Black America in 1 week than all of our Black billionaires combined have given in a decade. She donated hundreds of millions to HBCUs and Black nonprofits. Meanwhile, those who built their fortunes on the backs of Black culture, labor, and genius have built walls instead of bridges. Now, I don't think this person is basically saying that white billionaires are better. It's that it's sad that white billionaires are doing some semblance of something more for Black people than the rest of them. My thing is, it's like we shouldn't even be looking towards billionaires, period, because to be honest with you, all billionaires, and I mean this every fiber of my being, I'm gonna say it 10 toes down, my full chest, all billionaires should not exist. And I mean the status of being a billionaire, because they all have exploited their way to get to the top. Every last one of them. I don't care which one you point to. They are all horrible. I said what I said. Go cry to your big bone mama about it. And this is why it's so important for us to really focus on not just the billionaire class, but also the billionaire class that claims to be of the same stripe that we are. Because they want to still be able to look good in front of us. They still want to be invited to the cookouts. And yet, they're the reason why we can barely afford the food to go to the cookout. We got to skimp on the ham hocks and the smoked turkey leg for the collard greens because they got to get theirs first. It don't make no sense. It's one thing for the rich white guy to take our cornbread, but now you got the brother taking your cornbread too? Just because he owned the block? My gosh. They have mistaken assimilation for advancement. Spike Lee, once the messenger of do the right thing, now sits courtside beside men like Knicks owner James Dolan and Mets owner Steve Cohen, both donors and allies of Trump's MAGA machine. Jay-Z, who once spoke truth from the corners of Brooklyn, now partners with Whiteness of SL Green and Caesars to build casinos while Black-owned media struggles to pay reporters. Isaiah Thomas, a Hall of Fame legend who's once the finest businessman among them, knows firsthand what the Black press can do. When his award-winning wine was shut out of major retail chain, it wasn't a white PR firm or a corporate lawyer who came to his defense. It was the Black press. One call, one email, one tweet, and the company called back immediately. They didn't want the smoke from the Black press. That's the power we still hold. If only our own would stand beside us. Instead, the billionaires remain silent while the walls close in on our people. It continues, under Trump's regime, more than 300,000 Black women have already lost their federal jobs, and the number is rising. Trump's government is fighting a judge's order demanding he restore food stamps for millions of hungry Americans, many of them Black. Healthcare for our elders has been gutted. WIC and Medicaid are under attack. Trump's inner circle, Stephen Miller, Russell Vought, Steve Bannon, and their MAGA faithful openly promised to erase every gain made by Black Americans. Now, this person is lambasting, and quite appropriately, the Trump administration, but also let's not forget what the Democrats have also done. Because if we were in a Harris regime right now, would this article have been written? I would hope so. Because what Harris has done, especially to Black people in California, should be also focused in on. Or if, say, for instance, if Biden was still have ran, we could talk about the racism, white supremacy of Joe Biden and the policies that he implemented that were also against the Black community. But all of this came together and coupled together makes it harder and worse for those of us who are the Black working class. And so when we talk about Black billionaires, it should not be missed upon us to not also consider that the Democratic Party has been covertly negative for those of us in the Black community as well. Says they're not even hiding their racism anymore. They fired 4-star generals because they were black. Now, this part is, yes, focus on the part that they were black. They fired 4-star generals, okay, but at the same time, I'm gonna be honest with you. The military, the military budget needs to be slashed by like 90% anyway. But yes, it is egregious that they fired people in the military for being black. Said they removed the Librarian of Congress because she was black. They're dismantling black leadership from the military to academia. They say the immigrants they are deporting stole the jobs that black Americans should have, as if the only work we deserve is in the fields. And now here's the thing I will say. The work we deserve is any work that we want to do that pays a livable wage. That's the work we deserve. The work we deserve is one that we're willing to do that allows us to be able to thrive. So, look, if you paid me good money to work in the fields, you bet my black ass would be out there. If I got paid a living wage, yeah. If I got decent hours and good working conditions and benefits, yeah, I'd be out there. Of course. But I'm not doing it. I'm not going to be exploited like that. Nobody should be. Nobody should be. None. I don't care if they came here undocumented or not. They shouldn't be exploited either. But that's the reason why they're coming undocumented. Because the people at the top want them to come in because they know that they're willing to be exploited because they're under duress. And the people who we need to go after are the people at the top who are exploiting our fellow workers across the world. This is why international solidarity is so important. Because we should not accept them being exploited, because that exploitation also leads to them undercutting wages for us. It says this is not a political shift, it is an unmasking. The same white corporations that once filled their websites with slogans of equality and diversity after George Floyd's murder have quietly pulled back. Target, Amazon, Meta, McDonald's, Citigroup, Disney, AT&T, Goldman Sachs, and others have walked away from the very promise they made to Black America. They pledged billions, then simply decided not to give it. They used our grief for marketing, our pain for profit, and then vanished when accountability came calling. Through it all, the Black press remains the only institution that tells the truth. It is the keeper of our history, our victories, our wounds. It is not begging, it's bearing witness. Here's the point. Proximity to whiteness is not safety, it's surrender. It is the price of forgetting. Proximity to whiteness did not save the enslaved, and it will not save the rich. It will only make them forget who they are and who they were meant to fight for. So now, I think this is important that we also talk about Black independent media. Because you can have Black traditional media, which can also be caught up with just trying to preserve the system, but they just want to put on guardrails, right? Which unfortunately some Black Americans want to do. They want to keep the system in place. They just want to get their reparations and then move on. They just want to get some type of criminal justice reform and then move on. And then that's it. When in reality, the system is the issue. Black people, we have to wake up. It's not a reparations or, it needs to be a reparations and, right? And universal health care, and tuition-free public college and free education, and making sure that housing is for everybody. Reparations and making sure that nobody goes hungry. Reparations and we should, it should not and never be an or in there. And that means we should also own the means of production democratically. Because why in hell are we going to accept a system that enslaved our ancestors and committed 2 genocides? One against the Native Americans, which we had to watch, and then a genocide against us. A genocide that was slow and agonizing against us. And then they waltz ones that look just like us out here, and they live on ivory towers, and they say, well, look at me, I made it. What did you do? I put some chapstick on my lips and I kissed some ass. No, absolutely not. And by the way, we only have a small amount of them because the system needs to have a majority of us in poverty so that it serves as a message to the rest of us. And that message is accept your exploitation or you'll end up like the rest of them. Let me share this too. Some billionaires do not want you to know who they are. Some are okay with it. But let's share some of the top richest Black billionaires. Meet the 4 Black billionaires on the Forbes list of the 400 richest Americans. Here we go. So first you have David Stewart. IT entrepreneur David Stewart is the wealthiest Black person in America with an estimated net worth of $11.4 billion. This is up from $7.6 billion in 2023 and $6 billion in 2022. So in 3 years, this person, David Stewart, amassed a wealth of $5 billion in 3 years. Stewart grew up in the segregated South with 7 siblings, where his father worked as a mechanic, janitor, and trash collector. After graduating from Central Missouri University, he was a salesman for the Missouri Pacific Railroad, Union Pacific, and FedEx. In 1983, Stewart purchased his first business, an auditing company called Transportation Business Specialist, using loans from company banks throughout Missouri. He is the majority owner of Worldwide Technology, which he and partner Jim Kavanaugh co-founded in 1990. When it comes to early days, Stewart sometimes went without a paycheck and once watched his car get repossessed from the office parking lot. Over the years, the IT service provider went to nab top corporate clients, including Apple, Citi, Microsoft, and the federal government. And in 2023, WWT had sales of $17 billion. Robert Smith. Robert Smith is the second richest Black person in America with an estimated net worth of $10.8 billion. In 2000, he founded Vista Equity Partners, a private equity firm that invests exclusively in software companies. Vista is one of the nation's best performing private equity firms with about $100 billion in assets. It has posted annualized returns of 31% since its inception. So he graduated from Cornell University with a chemistry degree, worked at Kraft Foods and Goodyear Tire before completing his MBA at Columbia Business School. Alexander Karp. Alexander Karp is one of 23 newcomers on the list. His net worth is estimated to be $4.1 billion. He is co-founder and CEO of a data mining firm, Palantir Technologies, which received early backing from CIA Investment and ARM and QTEL. He met Palantir co-founder and billionaire Facebook investor Peter Thiel at Stanford Law School. So here we have a Black billionaire that is associated with not only mass surveillance, but also with a Zionist. Zionism is also white supremacy. Do you hear the trash pandas chirping in the background now? I bet you do. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is a former professional basketball player, widely considered one of the greatest all-around players in history. His career salary totaled $90 million, but he has earned $2.4 billion pre-tax from corporate partners such as Nike, Hanes, and Gatorade. He became part owner and head of basketball operations for the Charlotte Hornets, then named the Bobcats in 2006, and bought a controlling interest in 2010 before selling his majority stake in 2023. Jordan also owns 23XI Racing in the NASCAR Cup Series. In September 2020, he joined sports betting firm DraftKings as a special advisor to the board and investor. So, 4 richest Black billionaires in the Forbes 400 richest Americans. Black excellence is a phrase that is used to promote individualistic pursuits of wealth and power while leaving the rest of the people that they are a community with in the dust. Many of these people who are Black and very wealthy will pull up the ladder behind them. And when it comes to changing the system, they get scared because they want to keep the system as is. So this is why it's important for us to walk away from this system, because it doesn't give us any dignity. It doesn't help us collectively as a people to be able to get the true repair that is due to us, that is owed to us. And people will continue to point to them as examples as to why we don't need or deserve it, reparations, when in reality, we do need and deserve and are owed reparations. And they're being used to argue against it. On top of that, what did they do to get to where they are? What type of labor does Nike use in order to make those shoes? Do they pay their manufacturers, the people on the floor, a livable wage to make those shoes? Do they pay the people on the factory floors to make that Gatorade? And so this is why it's so important for us to focus on class solidarity, including in the Black American community. There needs to be solidarity amongst freedmen. And the classism and looking down on others simply because they don't make 6 figures, or looking down on other Black Americans because they may have a secondary or a tertiary identity, being someone who may be neurodivergent or somebody who may be a little zesty. Or we may look down or look at our women and femmes who are freedmen as they got to play their roles, so they have to be less than position. Or those that may be trans among us. Are we looking down on them and then we ruin the solidarity that we should have as people? We also have to get rid of the bigotry that's in us too, because we got to fight against this system. We should work to end even having Black billionaires and trade it for something that's even more valuable. A world that. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate it from the top and bottom of my heart. If you'd like to see any more, you can look here. 1.